First off, I wanted to ask you about the musical within a movie aspect. I thought that was just so cool, and I also heard there were more musical numbers that were filmed that I'm just dying to see the full
Oh,
versions of. But how is it kind of like balancing that story within the film because it's a real highlight.
oh, I mean, it was a challenge for sure, but it felt appropriate to the journey of our protagonist, Laura Franco. This is a story about a woman finding her voice. And so, to have a character who's trying to be a musical theater actress, ultimately finding her voice on the stage in front of a lot of people, um, being loud and proud and unapologetic about, how she's feeling felt, just right. And so yeah, I kind of I followed my gut, and I was like, even though it's a weird mashup, I've seen it before, Phantom of the Opera, it's kind of spooky love stories, opera, I thought it can be done.
Yeah, it's such a great aspect, and the whole last act I think is gonna really impress a lot of people. And Melissa's just fantastic throughout, but she really takes it to that next level during those final scenes. Can you speak to her as your casting choice? Because when you were describing those elements of the protagonist, you were basically describing Melissa.
I know.
Like it seemed like such a great choice.
She's amazing and just so brilliant and such a phenomenal performer. But, we were looking for someone who understood horror, which she has gained this big profile being in horror movies, and then someone who is a musical theater actress. She's like in the Heights, she grew up singing, she's a dancer. But then the one thing that I hadn't seen her do is that many romantic comedies. And to incentivize someone at her of her status to do a smaller indie film, I was like, I wonder if she'd be excited by the challenge of doing a role she's never really done before. I know she can do horror, I know she can do musical theater, but like maybe she'll be excited by the prospect of doing romantic comedy. And when I sent her the script, that's exactly what she said. She was like, I want to do a role like this. No one's ever asked me to do something like this before. I feel confident about certain genres of this film, but this is the one that I really want to sink my teeth into. And we want to, and this is my first feature. So we were both taking a risk on each other and together, and it all came together well.
It really did all come together, and I know this is a long time coming. You did the short film, so you've been working on this for like 5+ years. And then earlier this year, we saw Lisa Frankenstein come out, and the films diverge and they go in very different directions. But I was just curious, like when you saw that log line for that, because the log lines can be very similar, even though they go in different directions. So, like, what was your kind of reaction to that coming out?
I was thrilled because it was like it's a very different movie, but I'm like, okay, there is a market for horror rom-com. So I was delighted to see it, come out. And I think there should be I really appreciate filmmakers who take a risk and try something new and different and weird. And I think it's awesome. So kind of set the stage for your monster, and I was very grateful for it.
And the horror girlies are really having a good time here. The monster design. How is it finding that balance between him looking like a monster, but also, Melissa said he was pretty hot.
Yeah, so, like, that was Dave Anderson, who was, the special effects makeup artist on this film, and extremely talented person. I made that very clear to him. I'm like, "He is a monster, but we have to fall in love with him." This is a love story, so he can't be too grotesque. He has to be appealing, and as appealing as he is kind of dark and mysterious. And so we worked very, very hard, and he went monster went through a lot of different iterations to find that perfect balance, because the movie doesn't work if we don't ultimately fall in love with him. So we couldn't cr- create him in a way that would um throw people off too much. um And I think we landed on, the perfect look,
Yeah,
to kind
you found that balance for sure. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
of. It was so nice to meet you.